what are you doing? They need you to film the intro.
I'm looking for any shred of dignity I have left, any bit of luck, any hope to win a single week.
I don't know what to tell you. They need you to film this intro. Come on.
They don't need me. They skip me and watch Schmitty anyway. Just tell them go straight to Schmitty. Go to Schmitty.
Comish, are you okay? Anyway, welcome back everybody to another week of the Homies Fantasy Football Weekly Recap. It seems as though the Comish is going through some times right now, but we'll do our best and make it work. We've got some stuff to talk about this week, some very interesting scores and highlights to get into. It is now week 7. If math does me correctly, it means we're halfway through the season officially, and things are getting pretty interesting. We've got some great scores and stuff to talk about today. But first, we do have a trade to talk about that just went through between Carlos and the Comish. The Comish sending over Zach Ertz and Julio Jones. Carlos sending back Calvin Ridley. Adam is doing everything in his power to get some sort of revival out of that team. We'll see how this pans out for both squads. But without further ado, let's get into the scores from this last week. We're going to start off with Patrick versus Dakota. Patrick coming in 4-2, Dakota coming in 3-3. A win for either side would do wonders for both squads. We're going to start on the side of Patrick. Nice good game out of Jalen Hurts with 25. Jonathan Taylor, another good game of 17. A couple other guys in double digits with Hunter Henry and Devontae Freeman, but other than that, a lot of single-digit scores. His entire wide receiver core was single digits. His Jets defense with -11, which is a big hurt. All in all, makes for a very rough week for Patrick, just 82 points. Really suffering from having Stephon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb both on bye. Really hurt him this week. On the other side for Dakota, 24 points out of Lamar, 33 out of Kamara, 34 out of a monster game by Jamar Chase in which he surpassed 200 receiving yards. Melvin Gordon, the Pats D, also both in double digits. Makes for a solid week for Dakota. Nothing too spectacular, but comes out, gets the job done, and secures himself with the W. Final score in this one, Dakota 126, Patrick 82. Both sides now move to 4-3. Next up, this will be a fun one to talk about. We've got Orton taking on the Comish. Orton coming in 3-3, the Comish coming in 2-4. The Comish really needing to secure a win to try and not fall any deeper into that potential punishment. We'll start on his side. Joe Burrow, another great game of 30 points. Both running backs, Elijah Mitchell, Leonard Fournette, both with 16. Scary Terry with 25. Zach Ertz with 15. Makes for an overall respectable week out of the Comish, 125 points. But on the other side for Orton, a very nice week out of him. Derek Carr coming in, dropping 22 points. Michael Carter with 15. Devontae Adams with 19. A.J. Brown finally starting to show some life out in Tennessee. Has a very nice game with 27. Javonte Williams also getting him 17 points. Gives Orton a very good week of 151. Not too bad for some ass cheeks as he lays down a near 30-point victory against the Comish. Final score in this one, 151 to 125. Orton moves to 4-3, and the Comish falling to 2-5. We'll get into some updated standings here pretty quick. Next up, we've got myself taking on David. I'm coming in 4-2. David coming in 2-4. On David's side, pretty good week out of him. Aaron Rodgers with 26. Cordell Patterson with 14. Robert Woods, 15. DJ Moore, 13. Christian Kirk, 15. Hawkinson, 10. Robert Tonyan, 16. Buccaneers D, 19. A lot of good scores across the board for David. Really not a week you can be too upset about. 134 points. Usually about the average projection for most of the teams. Can never be too upset about that score, but on the other side, I reclaimed my group chat nickname this week. Tua filling in this week, dropping 28. DeAndre Swift, 27. Dearness Johnson, 24. Hopkins, 18. Kupp, 37. Higgins, 13. Marquise Brown, 19. Another monster week, managing to score 188 points. I've officially now broke even in the league with getting, once again, the high score payout. I really think everybody's starting to hate me at this point. But regardless, another big-time victory. Final score in this one, 188 to 134. I moved to 5-2. David falls to 2-5. Next up in this one, we've got Craig taking on Carlos. Craig coming in 3-3. And on the other side, we've got Carlos, the record leader, coming in at 5-1. And we'll start on the side of Carlos. Jameis Winston with 19 points. Derrick Henry, while he's been on a tear, 15 points. You'd like to see a little bit more out of him. Khalil Herbert with 18, Calvin Ridley with 12, Jalen Waddle with 15, and that's about all for the scoring for Carlos. What has been a pretty good year out of him, like we said, coming in at 5-1. Just you would have liked to see a better week out of him, but with guys like Josh Allen, Claypool, and Singletary all on bye, can make things a little bit more difficult than they otherwise would have been. But on the other side for Craig, Carson Wentz, 21. Both running backs, Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs in double digits. Mike Evans, a massive 3-touchdown game, gets him 31. Chris Godwin on the other side for the Buccaneers, also dropping 25. Hey, if you can get both guys to do that every week, you're going to be set. Travis Kelce with 13, Colts D with 12, makes for a very nice, solid week for Craig. 136 points, even taking a move from his dad, just like last year, leaving guys with buys in the lineup. He still manages to get the W. Final score in this one, Craig 136, Carlos 98. Craig moves up to 4-3. Carlos now down to 5-2, finally taking a loss. This next one, Oh, this is going to be fun. We've got Jose taking on Matt, and this is one of the wilder scoreboards that you're going to look at. No, this isn't some glitch you're looking at. This was actually the scorecard from this weekend's past game. So we've got Matt, as you can see, with 3 empty spots in his lineup, which at first glance you might be thinking, what is Matt doing? Is he conceding because of, his record on the league, which isn't bad, wouldn't make any sense that way. Is he paying homage to Craig's dad? What's going on here for Matt? But taking a look at his bench, all these guys either on bye or injured, it makes sense to just, at some point just say, concede 1 week and try again next week instead of having to move around all these players. So an interesting strategy for Matt, appearing to almost certainly concede the game to Jose because of his lineup situation. And even with that, it didn't turn out that way. We'll start on the side of Jose. Patrick Mahomes, a very non-Patrick Mahomes-like game of just 9 points. Myles Gaskin, a nice game of 17. Gesicki with 21. And other than that, a lot of very mediocre scores. I mean, Tyreek Hill with 11. Ruggs with just 6. Takes a donut out of Ramon-Ra St. Brown. And overall, just a piss-poor week for Jose. Puts up just 83 points with what I will remind you is a full lineup, which is something we don't see on the other side for Matt. Kyler Murray with 24 points, Alan Lazard getting 17, Kyle Pitts with 23, Devontae Booker with 14, and the kicker Nick Folk getting 12. Manages to put up 106 points just by starting 7 guys. Jose, I honestly don't know how you come back from this one. I mean, Matt essentially handed you the victory and still ends up getting the win. I guess that's that Matt Poole luck I keep hearing about. But anyway, final score in this one, Matt 106, Jose 83. Jose drops to 3-4. Matt moves to 4-3, and will probably have a full lineup next week, hopefully. And our final matchup this week, we've got Will taking on new Carlos. Will on a bit of a hot streak, coming in at 3-3. Carlos coming in 1-5, desperately needing a win. We'll start on the side of Will, 21 out of Ryan Tannehill, which is, a good week for him considering what he's done most of the year this year. James Conner, 12. Cortland Sutton with 11. Hunter Renfrow with 12. Michael Pittman Jr. staying hot for him, drops 20 points. But other than that, disappointing games out of Aaron Jones, Allen Robinson, Mark Andrews, and having guys like Najee Harris and Justin Jefferson both on bye. Unfortunately, made for a pretty tough week for Will. And on the other side for Carlos, looking like his team has found maybe a little bit of a groove. Tom Brady, 26 points. Damian Harris with 24. DK Metcalf with 17. Kendrick Bourne with 15. Bryan Edwards with 13. And hey, that Cards defense, 12 points. Carlos putting up a very nice score this week, 138. And with that, he's going to take home his second win and shift up those standings a little bit, which we'll get right to in a minute. Final score in this one, though, Carlos 138. Will with 101. Will drops to 3-4. Carlos moving up to 2-5. And I say moving up because we'll take an updated look at the standings now that we're about halfway through the season and get a good look at where everyone's sitting at. We'll start in the East Division. Orton, Patrick, and Craig all sitting at 4-3. Will and Jose sitting at 3-4. David sitting at 2-5. On the other side in the West Division, myself and Carlos sitting at 5-2. Dakota and Matt at 4-3. And we've got Carlos and Adam sitting down at the bottom tier there at 2-5. But as we discussed just a couple weeks ago, we are going to be doing a punishment for the last place in this league. And while we've got Adam locked in the spot, what better time to roast him? As even though we have 3 teams sitting at 2-5 because of what I believe the tiebreaker to be points scored, at least that's how it's done here, that would put Adam at officially last place as it currently stands. But we're just halfway through the season. We've still got many more weeks to go. Plenty of time for things to turn around. Things aren't set in stone, but an updated look at the standings for those of you if you're not following along with them, and to give me a chance to throw Adam under the bus a little bit, all right? Anyway, like I've said, plenty more time to go. Many more weeks ahead. We're just getting started here in this season, but that is going to do it for this week's recap. I look forward to continuing to take all of your money, and we'll send things back out to the commish now to see if he's doing any better. Commish?
Schmitty just finished his part. What are we going to do for the outro?
I don't know. Just make trades, smack talk, do whatever. We'll see you next week. All right, goodbye.